The following program is sponsored by John Chachis Insurance, your local farmers insurance agent located 800 Avenue G in Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Ely TV, Channel 3-2 in Ely, Nevada. Ely City Council meeting, September 26, 2013.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we heard you here for the invitation. And if we don't, I'll just say God bless everyone in this room and hope you're doing a good job. With that, roll call.
Mayor Hickman?
Here.
Councilman Jefferson?
Here.
Councilman Burbidge?
Present.
Councilman Lee?
Here.
Councilman Wesley is absent. Johnson?
Present.
City Clerk Treasurer Rogan? Here. City Attorney Sears?
Here.
Public Works Director Jenkins?
Here.
City Engineer Alford?
Here.
Fire Chief Rivera? City Building Inspector Christensen?
Here.
That's all, Mayor.
All right, with that, we'll go to public comments. Comments on city opinions will be accepted from the general public in attendance. If any are made, there may be a discussion upon those comments. No vote, decision, or action being taken upon matters raised under this item until it is formally placed on the future on the agenda. Comments for any items will be accepted from the general public. Section 8.05 of the Nevada Open Meeting Law Manual indicates that the public body may prohibit comment if the content of the comments is a topic that is not relative to or within the authority of the public body, or if the content of the comments is also disruptive of the meeting by being irrelevant, repetitious, slanderous, offensive, inflammatory, irrational, or not in personal attack or injury to the rights of other speakers. With that, we'll open for public comment.
I'm going to bring this up. State of Nevada is...
Go ahead and tell us.
I know.
Oh, okay.
The state of Nevada is sending us back out as service officer to do claims for veterans and life officers. It's going to happen on October 8th and 9th. October 8th will be from noon till 4. October 9th will be from 8 to noon. And we haven't had this for a long time. It's not in court because we let it out in the
This is for, because I didn't hear the first part.
What's that?
What is it? I didn't hear the first part.
It's a service officer. We're going to assign one to help come in month now. This thing forward. You know, this month, October, and then every month we'll have a service officer in the area. And we're going to meet. I got with Lori tomorrow, and we're going to be able to meet at the library. The beginning service will happen on October 8th and October 9th. So I think it was a great aid for
Make sure Jennifer gets that information.
yeah, when I get a phone out, okay, thank you.
Anybody else for public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, you get to address the issue of the corner of Canton and Great Lake Boulevard at the top of 20. 55-foot wide street is very narrow. Again, I'm asking you to go flying for the narrowing, you paid the fees. Who was notified? When was it put on the agenda? You approved it. When the street connects to a federal highway or a state highway, it must meet certain standards. Is the city in compliance? Before you today, Mr. Mayor, you're going to have a petition for abandonment coming from the school district. Evidently, it seems like some people know that they have to follow proper procedure. I'm not saying it wasn't done in the case of Canton, but you can't selectively enforce the law. You can't force some people, in this case the school district, to fill out request for abandonment, and turn your back on this other situation. Prior to that, we had Brian Burt do the same thing. The people at the Cove, they paid their money. It appears you're making some special concerns that You gotta look at that sidewalk. I went to the Regional Transportation Commission today, and I asked them also if they're gonna address that, and the fact that you have drainage coming onto the sidewalk from the top of the road. That's a city ordinance. Doesn't pertain too much to them as much as it does to you. It's not done anything in months. And it may be a year or so that it's been ongoing. At that meeting, I also issued or told them about a concern I have about the David D. Norman curb and gutter project. The sidewalks are 3 foot, maybe 4 foot. Your code is specific. 4 foot minimum residential, 5 foot for commercial or public facilities. Tear it out. What do you have all these staff members doing? You have 2 attorneys. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody asked for an application. You got to stop the selective enforcement. Mr. Mayor, NRS 266 applies to your duties, and I believe you're negligent. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be dealing with the general powers of your duties. Number 1, the mayor must exercise a careful supervision over the general affairs of the city. It doesn't appear you're doing that. Number 2, see that all general laws and ordinances of the city are observed and enforced. And under that heading, city standards, road minimums are 40 foot wide, is 25. You go on to Center Street, is it 25? Is it 24? It appears you're narrowing that.
Thank you, Mr. Jasper.
You can't do the job,
Anybody
Mr.
else
Mayor,
for
you need
public
to go.
comment? There is no other public comment? I'll close public comment and move on to number 3, city department report, starting with fire chief. Anything else you report?
Yes, few things. I'm sorry I was late for the meeting. We were setting up for the pod, cleaning dispensing, the flu shot clinic tomorrow, between 10 and 2 for Farmington High School. I've been part of that committee. Also, let you know I've received 2 Lefty grants for 5 SCBAs and some spare bottles for roughly $38,000 and $40,000. So I think that's big for a fire department. Also have a training grant we're working on, and October 21st through the 24th, I'll be in Reno, for Fire Shows Reno. I am the Northeast representative for the Nevada Fire Association for the state of Nevada. And this is our training show that we do annually. And I do have some of my volunteers going to this show. And I've also been appointed to the SEDS committee again for this year. And at the county commission meeting, after a little bit of the debate, the ambulance was gifted to the city of Ely, other than wrong serial number was read off. So it'll have to be re-agended, be popular. And other than that, you have some questions?
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Police chief, we have Sheriff Long, city clerk. City attorney.
No report.
City engineer.
It's been a pretty, I wouldn't say uneventful, but our work this last couple of weeks has been very focused on the Center Street project. Very time consuming, a lot of stuff going on down there. The work is proceeding well. I see no problems with what's going on so far. Everything looks good. They anticipate paving. Their schedule is for Saturday. Paving from Parker Street to the west, which is approximately, I would say, probably 60 to 70% of the project. And that will be, that portion of the project will basically be done. Besides a few miscellaneous odds and ends, we can come back once the paving is completed. But on that end of the project, all curb, gutter, sidewalk is complete. So now we're just lacking paving, which hopefully weather will break, improve, and we'll take care of that on Saturday.
When's that project due to be completed?
The project due, we had an RTC meeting today, went over that. It is due the 25th of October. was the 18th, but RTC approved a change order a while back because what's happening is we're working down at the bottoms near Ogden Avenue, EB Avenue. It's very fine material, and so we're over excavating some of that material to try to make it more solid road base. So that's going to change order, some additional work for them to over excavate, take this material out. So along with that change order, it's going to take another week's worth of time to take care of that. Also during this past couple weeks here, I spent some time down there with city staff going over our storm drain system down there at Bell Avenue. We did locate some things down there. There's a plan in place, so we're trying to get in place to get in there, get this storm drain all clean to remedy any drainage issues that we have down there. So I think they made some good progress in that direction. Based on one of the things down there today we were looking at, we'll probably put an additional DI. We have a junction that we excavated to for a junction. There is no manhole or no access to that junction. And so for us to be able to clean this pipe, we need to have access at this junction. So I think our recommendation is the best thing we can do there is put another DI right there. And we'll be able to take some water in from the surface into there, and then we'll also have access from the surface for future maintenance of that line. Also, last time when I was in front of you, we talked about the sewer project that I did not recommend that we award this project up here on First Street because of it was out of our budget that we had. Since then, basically what we're trying to accomplish now is we're trying to negotiate, do some value engineering with the contractor to get that work done, still accomplish what we want to, and value engineering to get that back into within our budgets. Contractors aware that they were substantially higher in our budget and we need to do something to be able to make this happen. And so they had requested, hey, rather than going out and bidding, can we at least try to do some value engineering and see if we can get in line with what your guys' budgets are. So we're working through them right now to get that, so hopefully very shortly we'll be able to cut them loose and get that project done at an affordable price. The only other thing that we also did some coordination with the county road department. We went out, we looked at making some improvements and assisting them and kind of some joint efforts with them between, maybe I'm overspent my bounds and that Ron can talk about this, but I went out there and Ron was also there with me, and we went over some improvements that can be done on Georgetown Ranch. The county is trying to widen Georgetown Ranch a little bit. There's a bottleneck in there just west of the horse corrals where Steptoe crosses, Murray Creek, crosses Georgetown Ranch right there. We're looking at expanding, so the city can work together and provide more assistance in widening that section of the road. Then we left from there. We also went over and we were looking at Crawford. Is that Ely Avenue, Crawford and Ely? But there's an intersection there that we've been having quite a bit of trouble with. I mean, they've had multiple overlays throughout the years to fix. So again, looking at doing a joint project together with some RTC funding so that we get back in. Instead of just trying to come do an overlay, we'll come back in and actually rebuild a portion of this intersection to hopefully never have to do that again.
Any questions for
Any
Peter?
questions?
Just curious, because of something George mentioned there around the elementary school with the sidewalk, because the first thing I thought when I saw the board is, I can have all these kids here, is it nearly wide enough? Then I noticed they've gone back and they've put asphalt in, back at a particular depth, which makes it look like it's going to accommodate a lot more kids. Does that count as sidewalk? Do you have two different materials there and still have that kind of sidewalk and be code that way? Or
We are meeting code that way. I mean, we're still, code is only 3 feet. ADA code, so as far as we're concerned, that is meeting code. We're needing to be able to provide access to those facilities. And so,
does the asphalt part cover that? Or would you say no? So I'm just wondering. So.
well, code doesn't come in and say it has to be concrete. It basically, code is gonna say it needs to be an all-weather passable surface.
Okay.
And so.
Better read the
asphalt-
code.
Asphalt is more than an all-passable surface.
Thank you, I just wanted to read something.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks.
Public Works Director, figure out what you did.
Update on the streets. We've started crack sealing. We started with the water digs. And all the newer water digs have been crack sealed. Our target is going to be Avenue M next. It's pretty bad shape. There's been one payback completed on Avenue L and 8th Street. It was done with cold mix. There was a fire hydrant we had to replace on Center Street and Ogden. What happened was with the previous Parker Street project, the contractor found an extension of C900 plastic pipe connected into steel pipe. So we replaced the whole thing. And that's basically all I have.
I was going to ask Ron about the Center Street, but the DJ answered all my questions. When it was due to be completed, and they got it soon. The monitors, they told me to run around the 18th.
He was correct, probably told me that they had some changes.
Yeah, this is the law that I answered. So that could cover it. And I went to all the city council, should have got the report from Animal Control, Todd. There was an incident over by the Shoshone Indian Reservation, by the Shepherd Station over there. Top of the, I asked him to put together a full report on that, and he did. I suggest you all, if you get a chance to read it, in case there's any more talking about it. There is all kinds of problems with the Shoshone tribe being a sovereign nation, because although we do have a contract with them, and especially on the weekend, because if tide goes out on the weekend, he usually has to be accompanied by an officer or a tribal officer over there. The incident didn't really, it seemed like it amounted to a lot that day. Nobody was ever in danger, and they got taken care of. There was a lot talking about it, and I want to thank God for putting in a good report. If the city council may have any questions for me later about that, they can ask me, because I got involved with the phone. Thank you. Okay, that was one of the number 4 items for discussion, possible action, to the city council as recommended by the city planning commission. Number 1, chairman planning decision, possible act approval of home occupation permit to Alicia Perry to conduct a medical building and business at Alicia Perry Incorporated, located at 31 Connor Court, Ewing, Nevada.
Hello, Mayor and council members. My name is Alicia. I recently moved here from Utah with my husband and children. I've done medical billing out of Alcohol for the last year. Specific to my wife's is a non-traffic business. Everything is done over the internet, and I do it through license billing service. I contact out with them, and I'm here to request that my license be, I guess my business license be approved, that I can operate this business in the city of Ely. I was just at 2 o'clock meeting with planning and zoning, and they approved my request there. And I've also got a letter from the state of Nevada approving my sole proprietorship there. So I believe I've gone through the proper channels for my business license, and now requesting your approval.
Okay, the planning commission, okay?
Yeah, they did.
Any questions for Alicia?
I move we grant this on occupation permit.
Any comments? Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Alicia, vote.
Thank you very much.
And number 2, chairman of planning, discussion possible action, consideration whether Daniel South is in compliance with the requirement of the home occupation permit to conduct a small engine repair and sharpening service, sand andings sharpening service located at 1000 WG Elizabeth. Richard, did you want to say anything about this?
I think that probably what should be done with this at this time is to table it until we can all discuss how this needs to be handled through the proper procedure. Because Mr. Stout has been given a permit to conduct a business, there are some special counsel procedures that need to be followed in order to make sure that Mr. Stout's rights are protected, and in order to make sure that the complainants, whoever they may be, have an opportunity to come in and talk about this. So what I would suggest we do is table this till the next meeting, when we have a chance to discuss the procedure we need to follow in these kinds of cases. Give Mr. Stout an opportunity to prepare for a hearing, and to give the complainant, whoever that may be, an opportunity to appear to present his side of the matter. So that would be my recommendation, just because we've got some legal issues. We need to be sure to follow the proper.
I would make a comment.
Mr. Stout?
Yes.
If you're going to argue the point.
No, not more.
Question you have for
I just want to make some comments about what's kind of going on.
that probably wouldn't be wise right now, because this could get into a legal matter and put a motion to table.
Okay. See, the only thing I do know is I know the gentleman is complaining that he only walked across the street.
Yeah, I really
Okay.
that. So let that, because it's the legal aspect of this, and we want.
Well, who do I talk to? Who can I talk to about this situation?
I mean, Richard, but not now.
No, I understand.
But what I'll have you do is you make an appointment, and we'll discuss it. I want to make sure you understand what's going on, as well as the person who's complaining.
I understand. Okay. That'll work.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's been taken.
You going to take any public comment, Mr. Mayor?
No, table item. Items for discussion, possible action, only the city council, the consent agenda for discussion for possible action on the minutes and discussion for possible action on payment of the bill. Any thoughts on the minutes?
We don't have a list of this. So, we'll just do a consent agenda for the minutes.
Just for the minutes.
I move we accept the minutes.
Point of order. Normally, the way you would do that would you would have a motion to remove bills from the consent agenda first, and then go forward with the consent agenda. And then you'll only have one item. That's
Okay.
okay.
I'll make a new motion. I will move to remove the payment of bills from the consent agenda.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? And the next motion would be for,
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and with that, we'll, go on to, new business. Number one, Mayor Hickman, Nevada Rural Housing Authority Executive Director Jerry Longate.
Longacre.
Was it?
Longacre, sir.
Longacre.
Yes, sir.
Discussion on presentation, this is a discussion only. Presentation regarding the Nevada Rural Housing Authority's OMAP land program and other services. A couple of us have St. Hampton with one, that had one with the Nevada Rural Housing Authority. Each of them, we have to come down here and present what they do. The non-government agency, I'll say that here.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
The mayor allowed me to pass out an annual report, a couple of inserts in there. One is on the housing study, I'll cover briefly, the other's on the housing program. After I got here, a gentleman sitting down to your left with a white shirt and tie came in around shaking hands, but he's sitting up there with you.
He knows that a lot.
He does that, yeah, and I've been doing something for years. I've been a fan of the Pink Panther and Chief Inspector Clouseau. So I did a very bad impersonation of introducing myself to him. Later find out he speaks French. I don't, so I'll be a little more careful about that in the picture, I'll tell you that. The Nevada Rural Housing Authority, as the mayor said, is not a governmental entity. Actually, it's quasi-governmental. We were created in '73 as a state agency. And the primary reason we were created was to act as a public housing authority for the rural parts of the state, like Washoe County and Clark County did. In '95, the legislature came back and made us quasi-governmental, took us away from state control, where we're no longer a state agency, gave us a lot more flexibility. We also gave up at that time being part of the budgetary process. Translation, we get no money from the state. So we operate on the administrative fees that we charge. Any revenues we make go back into the maintenance of our programs or the implementation of new programs. First program we did implement was back in 1974. It's a program that provides housing subsidy for low-income families. It's called the voucher program today. We've been administering this program since that time. Since 2004, our voucher program has been serving somewhere between 1,600 to 1,900 or so families across the state. We have been designated or gotten an award each year as what's called a high performer. So the award I'm proudest of, we got in 2009, we were designated as Public Housing Authority of the Year. That department has implemented some new programs. One of them is a home ownership program where you use that same voucher, but you're making payments on the house. Sort of a mini-family self-sufficiency program because it's designed to get families off welfare. The next program we implemented, the most recent, 2 or 3 years ago, we were one of the first in the nation, is vouchers for homeless veterans. And then just a couple of months ago, we got approved to implement a full-scale family self-sufficiency program where everybody that comes in and gets a voucher will be told you can get help for a period of time. We'll provide a mentor to them, but the whole design is to get them off of welfare at some time. That's a program that if we get additional vouchers, we hope to implement within just a couple of years. The housing study I alluded to, and as the mayor said, we met with a couple of people. You've got this very small summary in there. In 2005, we did a housing study for the state, and we provided it to the cities and counties to see if it would provide any help to them. The biggest reason we did it was to give us an idea of what the challenges are that you face, what are the issues and problems. This new study we're doing is far more comprehensive, very much in depth. It concentrates on what we call the mineral belt, 15 cities in there, and Ely is one up. What the study will do is look back about 20 years, it'll look forward about 20 to 30 years. It'll take a look at the infrastructure needs. But another key ingredient of this thing is that it's also going to come in and talk to the businesses, the industries that you have, and find out what their plans are. And the only way they can do that is to provide confidentiality to them. So VSI, who's doing the study, will send a letter to them asking for their participation, tell them that any information that they provide will be kept in confidence. So the final report that you'll get sometime in December or January will have a summary or a consolidation of all that information. VSI has been doing studies like this for years. We use them in both Battle Mountain and in Eureka. They focus on rural areas. If anybody have any questions on the housing study, like I say, like the mayor said, we did meet a couple of people here to talk about that. The only question we'll ask at that time, once the study's complete, is there any way that we can help you get the developments done, start the development? I had a great meeting the other day, in fact it was just yesterday, at White Pine County, when I talked about some of the same things, and they alluded to things. They talked about senior housing, not manufactured housing, multi-family housing, and single-family housing. So we know that we'll be talking to the county, and hope to be talking to you as well as to how we might solve some of these problems. We have another department, it's called the Real Estate Division. They now have apartment complexes stretching from the Carson City to Elko. We've had a number of them turned over to us because we're seen as a problem solver. One of them was turned over years ago. I think some of you know Tom Gray, he's the senator from Lyon County. He asked us to take over a senior facility there. We've done some work on it, and 2 years ago we did what we call a green retrofit, where we, in effect, environmentally make a better place for the families that are saving on their utilities. We are doing a rehab in Winnemucca Manor right now. Last year we built 30 new units of senior housing for Winnemucca in the same area, so it's now called a senior campus, if you will. We're doing a rehab in Fallon right now at a 48-unit complex. And then in Eureka 3 years ago, Eureka and Rural Development came to us and asked us if we would help them develop some BLM land that Eureka got about 20 years ago. We sat down with them after we did this housing study, or did a housing study for Eureka. Then we did all the planning, developed the concepts, gave them the subdivision plan. We also built 50 townhomes here that are starting to be occupied, being occupied now. This brochure that you have, and when I was making my presentation of White Pine, Carmen last night, the chairman asked if they could have a native. It turned out that I had given them Spanish, so I hope yours are all native. Somebody could read it, it's the French. This talks about 2 programs we administer today. We started administering programs for the state back in 2006 when I made my first presentation here and asked for your city council to consider transferring what's called climate activity bond cap. That's your ability to issue taxes and debt. To us, we pool with the other cities and counties and do taxes and bond issues. We just done our first one. We got great participation with the cities and counties over the years. We got transfers over $369 of those allocations from the cities and counties and for matching allocations from the state. We've now helped over 2,000 families with these programs. Those were tax-exempt programs or what we call mortgage credit certificate programs. Tax-exempt programs provided a low mortgage rate and 4 points of down payment assistance in the form of a grant. Our new program does the same thing, but you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. So it's opened the program up now to anybody that earns below about $95,000 a year. If you do happen to be a first-time home buyer, then you can participate in our MCC program. All that program does is help the families to participate by deferring, they don't have to pay taxes on about $1,500 to $2,000 a year. It's a real dollar-for-dollar savings. So now we have a program because we're using taxable bonds where you can get help with your down payment and you can get help with your taxes. That's it. I think I stayed pretty close to that 5 to 7 minutes, I promise.
Well, it didn't have to be a problem, so there's other one from there.
Are there any questions on the housing study or our programs?
Now, the 20-year of what we're talking about at the beginning about, that's something you're just going to go ahead and do for the measure?
Yes, sir. What we'll do is Eddie Holt, who you two met, who was our real estate advisor, will come back here and work with the city and county forming a committee. What we're asking the committee for is basically, who do we need to talk to? We're the businesses, the industries. Who are all the people we need to talk to? Like White Pine last night, yesterday afternoon, they mentioned that there had been a housing study done here just a year or 2 ago. We need to get a hold of that so that we can provide that to BSI to form this committee, and then the committee will make recommendations to BSI, then the study will be complete, as I said, I believe I said, in December or January, and then it will be disseminated out to all the cities and counties. Somebody please ask me how much this is going to cost.
How much is it going to cost?
Same thing our 2005 study did, nothing. Thank you for the question.
So we'll wait for your call on this from the county.
Yes, sir. Eddie Holt will be getting a hold of you to say this is what they like to come up and have some meetings. Any other questions?
The shortage of housing recently was a subject in our local newspapers. Thank you, Lucas. And there is a critical need for adequate housing being driven by mining industry, and we've had this conversation. What do you see as being the best possible thing that we could be doing to address that problem?
I think having coordinated meetings between the city and the county and the business industry here, whether it's the mines or whoever else is here, and start developing your own plans. We're going to give you this housing study. We'll certainly have some suggestions. We can't tell you what to do. You'll have to decide that. But once you have that study, that's going to give you a pretty good roadmap as to what your needs are. What I heard at White Pine yesterday was you have a need for some senior housing, and they would like some assistance, they'd like some more senior housing here. They also said they certainly need some apartments. That'll all be identified. And part of our plan is, once this is complete, is we can issue a single tax-exempt bond covering apartment complexes to be built in a number of different communities. Saves a lot of money, and that in turn takes the cost down for the people that eventually rent. Now that's one of the things that we might do, but we need to find out, is that one of the things that you want to do? Would you like to be a part of that? We just don't know yet. We're going to wait till we get the study.
And one of the things I remember reading in the paper was that contractors are reluctant to seek that kind of investment capital into building things which they're not entirely sure are going to be used. And mines, can't really, they say they have the need now, but then of course if there's a sudden shift in the price of metals and they're no longer, digging as much as they were, they'll need all those people, then that won't be needed, and contractors are reluctant to go out on a limb. So tell us about the ramifications concerning this investment capital.
Real good question. This study, we have had a number of dialogue with DSI. We also sent the initial draft of the scope of this thing to rural development, to HUD, to a number of lending institutions, asking for their input as well. And we've got some good input back. Lenders, as well as developers, are hesitant to come up and work in an area if they don't know if there's going to be an ongoing demand. And that's part of what the study should bring out is, where is the demand? I attended a meeting here about a year and a half ago, and it was, I think there were representatives from the city and the county and some of the private industry as well. And at one point, a gentleman from the line said that he had a need for about 200 units of housing right away. Short time later, our real estate consultant asked him, and how long will your mine be open? He said 2 years. Well, you're not going to build something today. It's only going to be around for 2 years. What we will find out from some of your mines is those are going to be open for 20 or 30 years. New mines that have opened up. You also have a prison up here. That's certainly going to be here for a while. And what the study will help us see, or help you see, is where do you have demand, and how long is that demand going to last? There's another part of this aspect as well. When we did the housing study in Eureka, what we found out from that was that there are people that did not want to live in Eureka for whatever reason. They would rather live here. They would rather live in Elko because of services and things like that. And that's part of what this study will show is what a real demand is, not just for a single community, but for all the communities combined.
Thanks all for coming down.
Thank you.
Stay in touch. Always let us know. Any public comment on this? There's no legislation. I'd like comment on this. We want to move it. Number 2, Mayor Hickman, Fire Chief of Affairs, discussion of possible action approval of proclamation designating October 6th to 12th, 2013, Fire Prevention Week from now to the city here. Chief, you want to fill us in on this? We do a review.
Just annually, we do fire prevention week. We go to schools and do a little chat with them and give them information on being fire safe. It's something. Either volunteer fire department, the city responsible for many years.
You guys have an open house down there for this?
I didn't know we had that. We usually do kindergarten through 6th grade. 5th grade.
I know other communities during Fire Prevention Week, the fire departments provide the batteries with which to exchange what you've got in your smoke detectors up there. Are we doing that here too?
I don't have the budget to do that.
That explains that. Thank you.
Back here, make a motion.
I'll move that we move that proclamation myself.
Any public comment before we vote? Anything? All certified. All fair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number 3, Council on Campus, discussion of possible action, approval of resolution 2013-5 to change the regularly scheduled time and days for the city council meeting to allow more citizens to attend. At the time of 5 p.m.